Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today, our guest is going to be Briana Johnson, Clark County Assessor. But before we get to Assessor Johnson, Ms. Phillips.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And thanks to all of our sponsors. We have Semper Fi Heating and Cooling. It is hot out there. So if you need your system checked, get in touch with them. Their website is callsemperfi.com, callsemperfi.com. We also have Michelle Romero. She is the Henderson City Mayor, and she's running for re-election. Her website is votemichelleromero.com, votemichelleromero.com. Jump on there and see what she's all about. We also have Angelo Carvalho. He is running for Board of Regents, District 3, and his website is carvalho4nevada.com, and that's the number 4, carvalho4nevada.com. Jump on his website and see what his platform is about. We also have a CD4 candidate coming up the first of the month. And if you are a candidate, have a business or a nonprofit, and you would like to advertise with us, get in touch with us. We have some spots left, and we will not advertise. If you're the first one to get to us in your race, we will not advertise any of your opponents as long as we have space available. Also, don't forget to grab your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. You can get it on Amazon. It is $14.99. If you are a litigant in family court and you cannot afford an attorney, this book will help you get through that system. And he'll also autograph a copy for you. Also, we have a merch store. It's VIPImerch.com, VIPImerch.com. We have all kinds of fun stuff on there for you to check out. And also our consulting business is VIPIconsulting.com. Get on there. And if you are a candidate and you need a campaign manager or consultant, get in touch with us. We'd love to talk with you. Also one more thing. Our Valentine's Ball is February 7th of 2026, and we're going to have early bird tickets on sale July 1st. So be on the lookout for those. You will save a bunch of money, and there's only a certain amount of those to go around for the extra early bird ones. So anyway, we will put those out very soon. So for my rant, I've been told that my rants are too long, so I'm going to make them shorter. I only have 2 minutes, so I got to talk fast, guys. So this Saturday, or last Saturday, everybody knows, was the U.S. Army's 250th birthday. Happy birthday, United States Army. And there was a huge parade in D.C., and my son was there. He was one of the 7,000 troops that descended on DC and were in that parade. And it was amazing. The press got a picture of his group, and he was in a bunch of pictures I posted on my Facebook. So proud mama. But he told me that he was watching what the media had posted about this little area that was roped off for a VIP, and it wasn't really open to the public. So they said that it was not well attended. Well, there was a mass of people there. But the media doesn't want to show you that because they want to downplay the parade, because they also said that it was because of Trump's ego and his birthday. He just wanted to celebrate his birthday, and that's why he had this. And also it was costing $25-30 million for this, and they could have housed a lot of homeless veterans with that money instead. So what I have to say about that, was the media concerned about where money was spent when we sent all that money to Ukraine? Were they concerned that Biden left $8 billion of equipment in Afghanistan? Were they concerned about the $50 million that was going to go to Gaza for condoms, but the Doge stopped that payment? Were they concerned that taxpayer dollars were used for $5,000 gift cards for illegal aliens and to give them free housing and free Medicare and free health care? Were they concerned when over $8 million were spent about transgender animal experiments? Were they concerned about the $1.7 billion to maintain empty office buildings, or $1 billion for racial justice in farming, or $140 billion in COVID relief funds to construct an 800-room luxury hotel? I didn't hear anything from the media about that waste of taxpayer dollar. But this use of money was to celebrate our United States Army and our military servicemen and women. I thought it was a beautiful display. It was wonderful. And yes, they sang happy birthday to the president, Donald Trump, at the end. Happy birthday, President. Did I make 2 minutes?
Oh, wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, that's real quick.
Oh, and my next,
Uh-oh.
hold on. My next rant is going to be on the No Kings riots. That is coming up on our 7:00 show. So you'll want to tune in for that. And I'll try and make 2 minutes on that too.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Phillips.
You're welcome. Hi, Briana.
Assessor Johnson, how are you today, ma'am?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Could you give, you've been on here before.
Yes, this is probably my 3rd or 4th time. Yeah.
Yeah, we like you.
I like you too.
Could you give us a bio, please?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Well, first, I would like to say to all of our servicemen, and including you and your son, thank you for your service. Thank your son for his service. And about me, oh gosh. Let's see. I'm a native here in Las Vegas, graduated from UNLV, and have worked in the assessor's office, I guess, since I was in my mother's womb. She graduated from high school, started working at the assessor's office, married my dad, got pregnant with me, and I've probably been in the assessor's office before I even knew I was in the assessor's office. So that's my story. And I started working in the assessor's office as a temporary employee in 1995. And I've held various positions throughout my time in the assessor's office, ultimately running for office in 2018 and being reelected for office in 2022. And so here I am as your Clark County Assessor.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Why did you run for assessor in the first place? And how do you stand out from your predecessors?
Well, I have to admit, I had no political desires. So I'll start there. And when my predecessor, which you know, and that's how I met you, Michelle Schaaf, decided that she was going to retire, she thought enough of me, my knowledge and experience, and asked me to run. And that was a tough one because, again, I never had any political desires. So it was all new to me. How do I do this? What does this look like? But at the same time, I thought this job, this role, this office is so important to me. And I wanted to continue to foster the family-oriented culture that we had and just keep the office the same because it's so important for your staff we spend a lot of time at work. We spend more time at work than we do with our families.
You're their normal business hours, right?
Absolutely. And
Overnight hours?
No, for me nor my staff. So we spend a lot of time there. And so for me, it was important to, again, maintain that culture to make sure that, most importantly, that the employees remain happy. They want to come to work and do the good work and be proud public servants. And so that is why I decided to run for office.
So can we go back a few years and talk about the postcards and talk about the 3% cap, the 8% cap, and all of that? So who came up originally with the postcards to mail out?
Well,
how did that come about?
I will go back to when the law took effect, which was fiscal year 2005, 2006. So that's when the law went into effect. And ever since that time, it has always been on the notice of value card that everyone receives in the mail every December. And if any changes happen to your property, it is on your notice of value card in June. So that has been in place since the tax cap went into effect. However, when I was elected in 2019, what I did was, because the card, everyone receives it, it's on the card, but perhaps just maybe they didn't see it or they missed it. And so what I did in 2019, once I took office, I reached out to the Clark County Treasurer at the time and I said, hey, is it possible that we can put this information also on the tax bill? so that when people receive their tax bill, they can look at their tax bill and see what their tax cap percentage is. And so in 2019, I believe it was that July when those tax bills went out, the tax cap was then on your tax bill so that you could see what your tax bill was or what your tax cap percentage was. Mm-hmm. And so it's not that it's never been on there. I think perhaps people just may have missed it. But our process in the office to get to how that works is every year we would mail out postcards or tax cap percentage cards to one, anyone who didn't have the 3% tax cap. And two, every year by law, we have to mail it out to those who have rental properties so that they can either declare whether they're renting at or below the HUD rates. Now, the rental properties we have to do annually because the HUD rates change. For the primary residences, we don't do annually for cost savings. So that was a decision that was made for cost saving purposes. Once you have the 3%, it stays at the 3% unless there is a change in ownership to the deed, meaning you remove a spouse or you add your child, because at that point, we don't know necessarily if it's still a primary residence or now is it a rental. But we continue to mail out the cards, but we did change it slightly. I think it was last year, if not the year before. What we now do is we mail them out monthly. In the past, we would do one mass mailing in around April, May. But now what we do is, this is now June. So what we say is any properties that sold last month or had a change in ownership in the previous month, we are now going to mail for all of those changes that happened in May. We do it in June.
And does that allow for them to say, yes, it's owner occupied. No, it's a rental. It's an investment. And they send it. And what if they miss that? Then that's why you went to the monthly, in case they miss it. Because a lot of people were throwing it away apparently and didn't even realize that their rate had changed and the cap had gone to 8% instead of 3%.
Yes.
And it was a complete, it was a mess.
Yes.
People were freaking out.
Absolutely, it was.
Chaos.
And so what happens is when you receive your tax bill notice, so the tax bills go out every July. So from the Clark County Treasurer, when you receive that notice in July, so we're about to start mailing out tax bills. Well, the treasurer, not the assessor, the treasurer is going to start mailing out tax bills in July. When you get that tax bill in July, it is going to show you what your tax cap percentage is. If that tax cap percentage is incorrect, you have until June 30th of 2027 to fix it.
If they're paying more?
I'm sorry, 2026. Is this
26? Yeah.
June
26.
of 2026.
Will they get a refund? Because some people, they didn't get refunds before when it was switched, unbeknownst to them. Mm-hmm. So they'll get a refund if it has to go back to?
Yes.
Okay.
So if they get their tax bill this July and it says 8% and it should be 3%, they notify our office. We'll make the update. We send it to the treasurer. And as long as that happens before June 30th of 2026, what will happen depending on the time frame? So let's just say they get their tax bill in July and they say, oh, my tax cap percentage is incorrect. They notify our office. We get it corrected in August, let's just say. And then we send the file back down to the treasurer. What the treasurer will do is just make adjustments to their remaining quarters that haven't been paid. So there may not always be a refund. The treasurer's office may just adjust your tax bill for your remaining 3 quarters.
How did they just get changed before, when somebody was owner occupied and then all of a sudden they discovered it was 8%? How did that automatically happen? And these people, they didn't know for months and months. So I'm in the real estate business. So of course I heard from a lot of people on that. So, and then people were, they paid so much more. So how do you how did that get rectified back then?
So what could have potentially happened in those cases is that when someone purchases, so let's just say with the timing of everything, because we are a fiscal year, so we are July 1 through June 30th. So I purchased my home, a new home in August. And so as of July 1, the previous owner owned the home, and the homeowner then moved in, got the tax bill, but that was for the owner as of July 1. So once we get the trigger that this house sold, we're going to send the new card to the new owner because the tax cap only applies to the owner who owned it as of July 1. Once that property sells, we have to send a notice. And if you don't respond to that notice, then that's how it goes back to the 8% because that tax cap really doesn't belong to you. Mm-hmm. It belonged to the person who owned it on July 1st. And so as we get close to the lien date and the sales that are happening in between that time frame is when it can kind of get tricky. So that could potentially have been the issue. And I think that's probably what happened to some of those that were just caught in that mid time frame of rolling over the fiscal years.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that. I'm
Absolutely.
sure, because I'm sure a lot of people were very interested in that, and you explained that well. Thank you.
Well,
No worries.
I have something I need
you.
you to explain myself.
Okay, friend.
And she's crying. One thing is the
Mm-hmm.
veterans exemption.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain how that works? What a veteran has to do to make that happen,
Mm-hmm.
to get exemption from their DMV property, their vehicles, or their homes, or a combination of both?
Yes. So not everyone, unfortunately, and I don't make the laws, can qualify for the exemption. So the law says that you have to have an honorable discharge, and you have to provide us with your DD-214. You have to be a bona fide resident of the state of Nevada to receive this. And typically, you cannot claim this exemption in any other county. So if you have an exemption in Tonopah, which is Nye County, you can't claim it in Clark County. And so all of the other 16 counties within the state communicate to each other. But yes, you just have to have an honorable discharge, have served 90 consecutive days during a wartime, and have an honorable discharge and give us your DD-214 that shows you have an honorable discharge.
Okay, so when they bring that in, what happens?
So when that comes into our office and everything is good to go, what we do is we ask you, how do you want to apply this exemption? You can apply it to your real property taxes, or you can apply it to the governmental services taxes on your DMV registration. We always inform our veterans to use it at the DMV if they have a newer vehicle because it's a bigger benefit. But if they so choose to use it on their real property, that's totally fine too.
They could do both. Too.
They could do both. You can split it.
Mm-hmm.
And we recommend that for the veterans that are 100% disabled because they get a larger benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And so some people would like to use it at the DMV, and then they're leaving this extra money that typically, or assessed value, I should say, that they aren't able to use. So we were one of the first counties, unlike some of the other 16 counties, that started to allow the veterans to split it so that you don't lose your benefit. The only tough or tricky part about that is you kind of have to estimate what your DMV assessed value amount would be, and then apply the rest to your real property. But we do have a calculator on our website so that you can type that information in, and then you just let us know, I want to use 500 assessed value at my DMV, and then the remaining I want to apply to my real property. And we're more than happy to do that. And if that estimator doesn't work for you, just call our office. We are one of the few departments in Clark County that every time you call the assessor's office, you get a live person. And that has always been the thing in my office since I've worked there, and I will continue to do that. We don't have a teleprompter. We don't have push one. When you call the assessor's office, you get a live person every time.
And you could do this online as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We send out the renewal cards annually, and you can scan the QR code on there, go online and make your selection, and you're all set.
So since you've
That's
been,
another thing I implemented. So yes.
So that comes with my other question. Since you've been with the assessor's office, what type of improvements have you done to the website, and what type of improvements have you done to the office itself as far as employees and the public at large?
Yes. So the website, the online
And is
filing.
it hot in here, or is it just you?
I'm usually cold. I'm okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. So I have implemented online filing for the veterans. I have also implemented the online filing for your property tax cap. Also, during my time as the assessor, what we have is a business personal property tax. That too is now online. And that is not only a benefit to the business owners for them to file online, but it's also a tax savings to our office because we're not having to mail out all of these declarations and to the business owners, nor are they having to mail back declarations to us and put a stamp on it and those types of things. So it's really beneficial on both sides. As the assessor, I obviously have to think bigger picture, as in not only what impacts my staff, but what also impacts the public at large, because that is ultimately who I serve.
Is there a law, a rule, something that your office has to abide by that you wish they would change?
Oh my. Well, I will say this. We get a lot of veterans that come to the office, and the honorable discharge under honorable conditions is sometimes an issue that we receive. And unfortunately, the law says, right, that it has to be honorable. So I don't know if that's something that the veterans maybe say, no, honorable is a thing, because we were there, we served, and under honorable, I don't know. I'm not in the military. So maybe that's not my fight, but that is something that we see a lot of. And we hate to turn any veteran away for their service. So that's one thing that's kind of a thing that I can think of. The other thing that I think is, I'm just trying to think, there's probably lots of things, I don't know. Something else that really, I know the veterans. Yeah.
Do you get complaints about the personal property tax on like office equipment? You know, like businesses have to pay tax on like the desks and shelves and phones and, you know, things they use in their office for their business. Do you get complaints about that?
No, we don't. There might be a few businesses, but I think most people here in the business community understand that tax and the importance of that tax. However, and we try to say, even on the real property side, that these tax dollars fund critical services to our community. But I don't hear a lot of complaints about the tax. I think it's more questions as to why, or I didn't know this was a tax. And then once we explain it, that it's in the law, you know, you can refer to NRS 361265. That is the statute that governs the personal property. So I won't say it's a complaint more so, other than just not knowing or understanding. But the good news is that we have partnered with the business license department. So when people sign up to get their business license, they let them know this is a form that you need to complete, and this is what this form is about, because you will receive a notice from the Clark County Assessor's office so that you can declare your equipment. So we do try to partner with the other entities so that when business owners come forth, it isn't a surprise to them and they understand what they're getting when they receive the postcard in the mail.
And that's even businesses that work from their home, or have virtual offices, wherever that equipment is. Yeah. Okay.
But here is what happens. And so the Nevada Department of Taxation, they do a study annually, and they determine the cost of collection for the business personal property. And so each year, the Department of Taxation says, this is the de minimis amount. If your tax bill, sometimes it's been as high as $21, $18, they say, if this tax bill, once you put in the assets and you come up with the taxable value and all of that, and the tax bill generated is $21 or less, then we do away with those taxes. So some of the home businesses, because it isn't a lot, fall under that, and they don't have to pay the personal property taxes. But again, that amount or that de minimis amount is given to us by the Department of Taxation, and they calculate that.
And where do those funds get allocated that you take in for that?
And when you say
For the personal property tax, or where
do they go?
Mhm.
So they go to the exact same funds that your real property tax dollars go to. It goes to fund education. It goes to fund fire, police, 911, those types of services in our community.
Do you have heard of any complaints about unanswered calls or long wait times or anything like that?
For the assessor's office? No. Not in our office. The one time, as you mentioned with the tax cap, we did have extended wait periods. We did have, with the phone calls, the phone system had shut down. But in my tenure,
How long did that
it
last?
Was overwhelmed.
Was that almost a year?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I think I want to say maybe 30 to 45 minutes. And of course, we had a lot of individuals coming to the office. And in that moment, myself, my staff, and things like that happen. You have to shift, you have to pivot, you have to figure out how to make this better. And we did what we had to do. And I must say that in all of that happened, the individuals and taxpayers and property owners who showed up were amazing. They were gracious. They were thankful. Some of them even brought cookies and donuts. Just amazed at how well my staff handled it and how efficient we were trying to be to get them in and out. And so I'm so thankful for that and my staff, and that we were able to, again, shift and pivot, all hands on deck, because again, the public is so important to me, my office. And again, I think I've mentioned to you all before that I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to serve in my capacity, and I don't take it for granted. And the public, first and foremost, in addition to my staff, because without them, I couldn't do the work that I do. And without them, we couldn't serve the public as efficiently as we possibly can.
How many employees do you have?
Right now, I am at 117 employees. Typically, we're 130. We are just kind of getting back to being fully staffed since COVID. Yeah, we were actually down to 99 employees. And I have to commend them because we have a lot of work to do with limited staff. And we have over 850,000 parcels in this county to value on an annual basis. And it's a tough job, but we've gotten it done. And so again, kudos to my staff, because a lot of them have had to bear the brunt of doing the work, including me. I when new employees come in, I'm training, and a lot of the institutional knowledge with the pandemic that happened, a lot of those employees retired. And so there's very few of us left that have the institutional knowledge. So I am a certified appraiser in the state of Nevada for real and personal property. So I am able to do the work, and I have no problem doing the work.
How about contractors? Do you have any of those?
I do. There are 2 of them that I have right now for IT. As we know, IT.
Just for IT.
Just for IT.
They don't take your place when you're not around.
No, absolutely not. No, they are strictly IT to help us with and to help us implement the very services that I talked to you about, getting us online for the declarations, getting us online so that taxpayers can submit their tax cap via the web, and also that our veterans can submit their tax or renew their exemptions online. Those are what we hire the contractors to do, to help us provide better services with our technology to the public.
Is the assessor's office hiring?
Well, we are kind of always hiring, and then we'll get to a point where we're at a standstill. So right now, we're kind of in a good place. We just hired, and with the assessor's office, what we have to remember is that we are a specialty kind of department that is no, not at all. We have what we call GIS technicians, or geographical information system technicians. They do all of our mapping. And so I really am concerned because not everyone comes out of high school saying, I'm going to go and be a GIS technician or a GIS analyst. And not everyone comes out of high school saying, I want to be an appraiser. And so those are the main jobs in the office that are specialized. So sometimes it's hard to recruit for those because it's just a specialty field. So what we try to do is pour into the current staff that we have to get them to trained and to understand and take some courses so that they can perhaps move into those positions, because no one's really doing that anymore. But we do have some of our entry-level positions, our customer service associates that answer the phones, that assist the front counter, and that's at the front of the house, and also at the back of the house. So we do have some of those positions as well that aren't as specialty driven like our appraisers and our GIS team.
How about budget? Sorry.
Why-
Oh, no worries.
This was like a multiple.
I know, but I want to go back to the IT people.
Oh,
Okay.
So why is IT not in-house when you use those guys all the time? Would the county save money by making those in-house positions rather than contracted?
So that is possible. However, so county IT, they are centralized in that they work with the entire county. And so sometimes some departments, and I say as far as my department, not that I'm any more special than any other department in the county, I'm not saying that, but as an elected official, I feel I have a duty and responsibility to the public. And so when I need something, maybe someone that's assigned to me could potentially be assigned to another department because we all have to share. And for me, if I need something, I'm going to need that person to understand our businesses, our business practices, understand why it needs to work that way, versus IT that can perhaps assist me in this moment, but then they have to assist someone else. We do rely on central IT a lot for a lot of our processes, because they house all of, the data equipment type of things. But when it comes to specific needs, like those things that we talked about, then we have a contractor to come in and do that work for us, and then complete the job. So that's the difference.
how about budget?
Mhm.
What's your budget?
So my budget, I will have to say, I believe it's around 14 million. And
What's your
I'm
cut?
very,
1 million, 2
oh no, no. But I will say, I'm going to say that I don't even believe that we have used all of our budget because of the staffing shortages that we've had since the
Do
pandemic.
you lose it the following year?
No, but I believe we still budget for it because we could potentially hire. So we don't want to not have enough if we do decide to hire. So and I try my best to be very fiscally responsible. As I mentioned, how can we get the taxpayers to file online to avoid cost to them, cost to us? How do we cut costs and still be efficient at the work that we do to save on taxpayer dollars? So I do my best to look at those things and think bigger picture as to how we can best preserve our budget.
What about satellite offices?
Yes, we do have satellite offices. We have a satellite office in Henderson at the Henderson City Hall, 240 South Water Street. And then we also have a satellite location on Tenaya in the Donna Maria Plaza. And that is to service our individuals, obviously, in the Henderson community, and then also to service those in the Northwest so that they don't have to travel to our office downtown. And those two satellite offices, and I won't say they were strategically, but somewhat strategically, because we do have a more senior community up in Summerlin that makes it easier for them to get to that Northwest location. And then the city of Henderson location can also service our Boulder City residents so that they don't have to travel as far, and even our Laughlin residents if need be. They don't have to travel as far to come into downtown.
Have you traveled all the way over there to Laughlin?
I have.
Why am I saying I need to go back to Toastmasters. My question is,
Now you're thinking about it.
oh my God.
Just say it, it's all right.
No, it escaped me. I had it and, oh yes, I know what it is. So if you need something for your department, who do you go to? Do you go to the county manager? Do you go to the county commissioners? Who do you go to get what you need?
Okay, and help me when you say what I need.
Maybe you need a policy change, or maybe you need some additional technology, some computers, or maybe you might need another IT person up there, or, whatever you need that's out of your scope.
Yes.
Who do you go to?
So each department is assigned a financial analyst.
Okay.
So we go over our budget annually before we submit it, obviously, to the state. And I think that happened in May. So our budget analyst will come down and sit with us and assess our needs and to say, do you think you're going to need new employees? Do you think you're going to need any new equipment? Do you think you're going to need? So we go through those list of things prior to budget. And that's how we get anything that we need. And of course, anything after that is like, well, you need to wait until the next fiscal year because you didn't budget for that. So, but no, we sit with our budget analyst.
I need that laptop now.
Oh yeah, no. But yes, we have a budget analyst that works with us.
Okay.
So you're running for re-election.
As of right now, yes, unless I can think of anything else to do. But right now, I haven't thought of that.
Do you have,
President of the United States?
No.
do you have any aspirations to run for another seat, the recorder's office, any of the state seats, anything? No?
No. As I mentioned, like this was a leap for me. I am a very behind the scenes person. Whatever you need, I will get it for you. Is it a report? Is it numbers? Is it data? So no, unless I don't know unless someone comes. I don't know. As of right now, I'm just going to stick to assessment. So
that's very good.
Yeah.
Because you love it. Your mom worked there, right? So it's like a tradition.
Yeah.
So is there what would you do about anybody bringing to you any type of discrimination, whether it's race, sex, religion, or somebody has purple hair or something? And what do you do when you hear stuff like that in your department? How do you go about handling it? And what's the protocol to resolve those types of issues?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that I haven't encountered any of those things in my office. Like I said, we are one big happy family, at least to my knowledge.
Think I could join?
Sure.
What do you guys say?
I like happy families.
Who's for lunch every day?
Right?
Who's for lunch?
But what typically the protocol is any of those things that are brought to my attention, those items are referred then to Clark County Office of Diversity. Those are not issues that neither me nor my manager would handle. Any type of discrimination, harassment, bullying, any of that.
Who's your manager?
We defer them to the Office of Diversity.
Who's the manager that you're referring to?
Oh, I have several managers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not just one.
I want to talk about safety, security. Some people just kind of barge into buildings, businesses, and, shoot the place up sometimes, these crazies. So how do you feel safe at work? Do people carry weapons at work? What does that look like? Security there? No.
So no one, hopefully, should be bringing any weapons to work. We have it posted. The statute is on the door, no weapons, the NRS statute. But ultimately, yes, I feel safe. We feel safe.
Do you have armed security in the building?
We do.
Is there any type of protocol that you guys do for that? I mean, you hit a button and sound the alarm. Does everybody exit?
Yes. So we have, at least in my office, we have safety drills. Okay. We have a safety coordinating team in my office. They meet every other month or quarterly, I should say. And we go over scenarios. We have drills. In my office, I don't know what other departments do. Just recently, we had a fire drill where we all went down. If something was to happen, how do we get out of the building? How do we do this safely? We ordered walkie-talkies so that we can communicate. We can account for all of the employees. So we are on top of things with the safety committee in my office.
So how do you build trust with the public at large? How do you go about doing? You guys used to send those big Sprint-looking phone books to every house. Was that the assessor's office that did that, or was that the other department head that did that?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember those big books about that thick with all the recordings in there and all the assessed values in there? Do you remember seeing that like a few years back?
No, and what by statute we have to put that in the newspaper every year. The statute says that we have to post the values in the a circulatory. I think it's in RS 361-300. You have to which we do the RJ, we do Telemundo, and we also do the Chinese Daily News every December. But now what we do is we don't post all of the addresses in there because the newspaper, you're right, used to be like this thick on the newspaper. No, okay. It was in the newspaper and we had to do it, and they would do it on a Sunday. So it was always on a Sunday paper. And what we started to do now is we just put our, that the secured roll has closed. So we put that in the newspaper and then we direct them to our website, and they can go to our website and look on our website at the same information that would have been in the newspaper.
Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else for Assessor Johnson?
I don't. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Miss Johnson, Mark is going to zoom in on you.
Okay. Oh gosh, no.
But real okay. Close, like real up on you, like real. See everything.
It won't
zoom all in on you. We want you to give. We want you to give any type of point of contact if you want to.
Absolutely.
Whatever your closing would be, vote for me. BJ, Briana Johnson. Whatever your slogan is, or having people, whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Your closing.
Okay. My closing is, I just want to say thank you to you, Steve, and Miss Stephanie, for having me today. Again, I'm no stranger to veterans in politics, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to come and just educate the public, educate you all, answer your questions, and whatever it is you would want to know about the assessor's office. If you would like to visit the website and just peruse and find out exactly what it is the assessor does. Most people don't know what the assessor does. So very quickly, if you don't mind, I would just like to say the assessor's job is to discover, list, and value all property in Clark County for tax purposes. And as I mentioned before, those tax dollars fund critical services into our community. So I know I may not be the popular person, but the job that I do is so important. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to serve in this position. And if you have any questions, you can visit the Clark County Assessor's website at clarkcountynv.gov/assessor. And that is ASSESSOR. And if you have any questions, as I mentioned, we are an office that answers our phones. And you can reach out if you have any questions to 702-455-3882. That is our customer service line. Again, 702-455-3882. And thank you again for having me. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here. And I appreciate you both so much.
Well, thank you so much, Assessor Johnson, for being here. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Folks, that's Briana Johnson, Clark County Assessor. And we hope that this program was informative. And when you go to the voting booth, Assessor Johnson seems like she knows exactly what she's doing. This is Steve Sampson, Stephanie Phillips of Veterans in Politics. Until next time.